Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's I'm serious. Where my girls at? We link up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right.
And it's going down. It's going down. It's going down on a thankful Thursday. It is Thursday. It is Thursday. And you are listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship on 910 a.m. The Superstation. I'm your host for today, Crisette Ellis. You know me. I am from the D. And I'm always excited, as is my girlfriend's excited, to come to you Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about it all. Sometimes we're silly, it's funny. We're talking about current events. We're talking about what you know that you don't know that you should know. We're talking about that and everything in between. And so it is a thankful Thursday. And again, we are so thankful to be here to share this time with you. And you guys know we love talking to you. We really do. We want to thank you. Michael, give our radio listening audience and those who watch us on 910 a.m. Facebook or that is for you, because you guys are the best audience, the best guests ever. You all have been listening to us. It's a little over a year and a half. I can't even believe that we're going on 10 years. We appreciate you. And of course, we love to hear from you. So on today, I'm going to tell you what we're going to be talking about in just a few minutes. But we want to hear from you. 313-778-7600 is the number. And so today I am hanging out with my girlfriend, Caterina Harris Earl, and she is on the West Coast. And I know you guys are like, where are the other two? Is it just going to be Caterina and Crisette, right? The two first ladies. What did they do? Did they kick the other two heathens off? Oh my goodness. No, that is not what happened. That is not what happened. I'm going to tell you, when you hang out with women who are just awesome movers and shakers and doing a lot of things in their life, this is what happens. I mean, Gloria is living her best life with her husband, Ken. They're gone for a 28-day vacation to Asia, to where else they've been. I mean, just
they're traveling
over.
I think they're leaving Vietnam and going someplace else. We're not sure, but follow her on social media and you'll see the next hotel.
Okay, there you go. So follow Gloria when I tell you, she surprised her husband. I won't say surprised him, but for his birthday, that is what she gave him, this amazing 28-day trip to some of the places that they had not gone to before. So that's exciting. So hopefully you are following her and just seeing the world through their eyes. It's just been amazing to see what she and Ken are doing. And then we have our girlfriend, Sabrina Goodwin Monday. And when I tell you, that girl has moved more times than the U-Haul truck that we're trying to send to Caterina in California. When I tell you, we just got used to saying that Sabrina Goodwin Monday from Geneva on the Lake, Ohio. And now she's moving to the Baltimore, Maryland area with her husband, just as a wrestling coach at Morgan State University. And so that is just so awesome, and they're doing a lot there. You know, they're doing interviews and doing all that comes with having received that job and all that goes along with it. So if I know Sabrina, she's somewhere listening in, and I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, she the messy one. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a comment or something come up from her. But we told them we got their backs. But again, you know, we always say don't be gone too long, because they may come back and find, where's my spot? Oh, you know, we got one of our listeners, one of our viewers, to come on and take your spot. But in all seriousness, we are so excited for both of them. And of course, you know, I like hanging out with my girl, Caterina Harris Earl. You know, she's the one, the techie one. I will promise you, when you're doing this kind of show, I ain't gonna say who you would choose not to be on the show, because everybody is important. But when it comes to making sure that this goes off without a hitch, and if something goes down, the person that's going to get you back up and going is going to be Caterina Harris Earl. So I'm glad that she is hanging out with us today. Well, yeah, so you guys, we're going to be talking about in a little bit about the GOAT. And you know what? You're right, like the GOAT. And hopefully I know, and if you don't, you know what the GOAT is. It stands for the greatest of all times, right? It is that person who is considered to be phenomenal, to be great, to, you know, have just done things that other people have not been able to accomplish in their lifetime. And so today we're talking Serena Williams. That's what we're talking about. We are going to be talking about her, you know, when she started tennis, all of the things that she has accomplished since being in tennis, and just how she has changed the game. And so, I mean, just knowing that she is, you know, now getting ready to retire on her own terms out in New York at the US Open. We're going to talk about it all. But before we get to there, I'm going to throw it over to my girl, Caterina Harris Earl, to find out what's going on in the news. Bring us up to date. How's it going, Caterina?
Oh, goodness. There's so much that's happening, but today is a great day. I'm looking out because solar panels are going up on my neighbor's house, and I think I'm going to get solar panels. I think they're coming here too. It is 107 degrees. Actually, I think right now it's 100, but there are many places that it is going to be as much as 107 up to 112. I think this weekend it's going to get as high as 122. Like, it's not here, but Death Valley, California. I mean, when I tell you it's hot, it is hot. So literally pray for us, and pray for the, Gloria would say, because you need a U-Haul, pray for the rolling blackouts, because with that much pressure, it's just like how we're continuing to pray for Mississippi, but what happens, that much pressure on the water system, that much pressure on our electrical system, the grid can go down. So just pray for everyone in California to continue having manageable you know, temperatures in their home, in their living space. I want to thank everybody for continuing to pray for my husband. He is coming home on the 3rd. So he is leaving. He's like sleeping now, someplace near Zambia. I'm like trying to keep track of all these places, but he has to drive about 140 miles back to the airport of Lubumbashi to go back to Johannesburg, to go back to Cape Town, to come back to San Francisco. And so seriously, when you go through and drive that far, going through all these checkpoints, I don't know if anybody knows, but as you travel to third world countries, pray for his safety, protection as they drive. We'll talk more about it when he is back on stateside, but it has been a great and blessed trip for those of you that have even been following my husband. And Chris, September, look at September. This is what it stands for. Start exercising, start expecting prayers to easily manifest breathtaking, exciting results. Start expecting prayers to easily manifest breathtaking, exciting results. That's my September declaration.
Wow.
I love that.
That is
September.
awesome. Did you come up with that, or somebody else posted that?
You know that was on TikTok. You know that was on TikTok. And my last thing before I pass it back to you is today, my Peloton is coming, Chris. I can't even figure out for those of you on the radio, I'm holding up, what are they called? Cleats, Peloton shoes. What are they called? I don't know. I can't even figure out how to get them on. I'm like, afterwards, I need a special lesson because I cannot get it to come.
Yeah.
But it
And
was
you know
a
what?
gift.
I'm going to tell you, when I got my Peloton and my shoes, and I was like, okay, I really just thought you had regular gym shoes and you got on a bike like any other exercise bike. And I was challenged probably the first couple of times that I did it. But of course, it becomes easier once you figure out. I had to Google, how do you, use your shoes? How do you get on your Peloton bike with the cleats? And it was a little challenging at first. And then wait till you have to get off. Somebody told me they just leave their shoes. Once they got their shoes on, they don't take them off. Okay. So it just depends. But trust me, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. Well, I'm excited. We're going to go ahead. This is a good place to transition. But before we do, I do want to mention that we absolutely want to keep those in Jackson, Mississippi in our prayers, because it is just so awful what is happening with them in Jackson, Mississippi, to even to envision that in 2022 that there could be such storms that could leave people without clean water to drink, to be able to take a shower, to even flush their toilets. I mean, is unconscionable. And it's really sad when you see the news and all the people that have to go to the various checkpoints to receive clean water. I mean, is this America, or is this a third world country when you see those kinds of things happening? And so, Caterina, we were talking a little bit before we got
It's a city that has 82% African Americans. Just meditate on that. And the question, which prove to me differently, would that be the case if it were not 82% African Americans? Would we get to this point? I mean, it's just, it screams so loudly, it's a problem. And so someone was talking about the history of how they got here, because this is not overnight. This is a system of neglect. And I don't care what anybody says. They said it's the mayor's. That's not the mayor. That a mayor of a city doesn't. I mean,
thank you. Come on.
All that infrastructure. It's so much bigger than that. It's so much bigger than that. The water flow into a particular city and the fact that other cities surrounding it. Oh no, there's more that behind that than just something that the mayor alone can fix. 82% African American.
82%. And, I guess I feel some kind of way because I'm sure, not too long ago, a few years ago, what happened in Flint and the water supply there, and all of the citizens of Flint that were affected by what they did with the water there. And, so many of them, especially the children, are still reaping the consequences of, having the lead in the water. So, to me, water, air is something that every American should be able to breathe fresh air and drink fresh water, and, not to just have an infrastructure that is going bad year after year after year after year, but not pay any attention to it because it's mostly Black and brown people there. 82%. Okay. Mm-hmm. So enough said. You know what that is all about. But we're going to go ahead and transition. We just got a few minutes before we go to our first break, but I don't know about you, but I am so excited about what is taking place right now in New York City. The US Open is taking place, and the GOAT, the greatest of all time, she is there, and she is playing in what is supposed to be her final appearance in tennis. Now, Caterina, and we have seen it, AKA Tom Brady, okay, who was the GOAT, right, in football. We've seen him retire, and then, it's something about, that, I don't want to say the limelight, but it's is just who they are. And, being champion and being athletes, sometimes the lure is just so great. Do you think, Caterina, she can totally walk away? And that's going to be, maybe we'll see in a year or two if she's quiet on that front. Maybe she will, as she says, she has other passions and she wants to spend time with her family. So we'll see. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Serena, some things you may know, some things you may not know. Tell us, what is your favorite thing about Serena? Where were you the first time you saw her play tennis? Tell us your best Serena story. Give us a call at 313-778-7600. You're listening to We Got Issues on 910 a.m. The Superstation. We'll be right back. are back. We are back. Yes, we are back. And you're listening to We Got Issues on 910 a.m. The Superstation. And we're excited today. We're going to be talking about all things Serena Williams, the GOAT, the greatest of all times in the sport of tennis. And so, all eyes are on the US Open. So many people have, it's a sold out crowd in New York to watch her last and final US Open. And we're just excited to watch her and to see what's next, and whatever it's going to be. I know it's going to be absolutely amazing. Now, a couple of things, well, I shouldn't say a couple. Yeah, there are a few things that I absolutely did not know about Serena. And the first thing that I did is that born in I was like, she is
Hmm.
a Michigander, even though she spent,
Wow.
she was raised, yes, in Compton, Compton, California. She was born in Saginaw, Michigan. And I was like, oh, wow, no wonder she's so great. She came from Michigan. She came from Michigan. And so that was interesting. I did not know that fact. And then also, let me just quiz you, Caterina. Do you know how old she was when she started, when she went pro? How old she was when she went pro? Because we all had, well, I shouldn't say we all, many of you were able to kind of see her story through the story of her father in the movie King Richard.
Mhm.
And we saw, the grueling practice, and we know the story of her dad and how he told her mother, we're going to have, they had two girls, and he was doing the research on tennis and, figured out how much money they made in tennis. And I mean, his story is a phenomenal story, just to know, how he spoke all of that and put action behind it. And he and his wife, I think, how do you pronounce her name? Orsine.
Mhm.
They have the two of the greatest tennis players out there to date. But getting back to Serena, it was just so interesting if you watch the movie how her dad really did not want her to go pro. And what was so touching in that was that it kind of felt like he wanted his children to have a childhood and to appreciate, being a kid, a teenager, before being thrust into such a high profile sport. But she decided that, she was ready and she wanted to go ahead and go pro. And
Mhm.
to know that she was only 14 years old, Katrina,
Yep.
I was like, what was
Wow.
I doing at 14 years old? At 14 years old, she was thrust on the big stage and became a professional tennis player. Let's see, she played her first match on the Women's Tennis Association Tour at the 1995 Challenge Bell in Quebec City, Canada. She was the
Wow.
youngster crashed out of the first round after playing less than 1 hour when she lost to the then number 149, Annie Miller. So she began her career at age 14. I don't even know. What was I doing at 14? I think at 14, you're in high school, right? You're in what, the ninth
Yeah.
or the 10th grade?
Yeah, high school, middle school. Yeah, definitely high school. But that puts it in perspective in terms of the next, it's not retirement. What is she calling? She's not calling it relaunch. Her next chapter. That puts it in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time in your life. That's growing up early, growing up quick. Um, it's just, it puts it in perspective. And when you ask the question, Chris, about will this be like a Tom Brady where she's in and out of retirement, I think the word mom, hearing mommy, I think that
Mm,
puts a whole different perspective. Having a young child and realizing how much of her childhood was different because of her upbringing, because if she went pro at 14, what, Billie Jean King described her seeing, Billie Jean King saw her serve when she was 6. So that meant she was playing tennis, out the womb, right? And so I think that that's a lot of years. So that's a lot of
that's
years,
a
a lot of your
lot,
life.
right? I mean, a lot of years of focus, a lot of years of discipline, a lot of years of sacrifice. I mean, we look at different stories of people that we consider to be the quote unquote GOAT, like the Michael Jacksons of the world, and you see their stories and you see how much of their childhood they had to give up to chase the dream of music, or to take, or in Serena's instance, to be, at the top of the game of tennis. Well, you know what? We're going to talk a little bit more about some of the things that she has done in the years that she's played. But I'm excited. We have one of my best friends is on the line. Vanita Glenn Adams is on the line. And I asked her to give us a call because, you guys, now check this out. And I hope Buddy is listening. He's probably not. So if anybody has Buddy's number, I would give it to you on the air to tell them to have him call and listen to this. Her son, who is my godson, Malcolm, he called his mom and he said, hey, you know what? I'm getting tickets to the US Open and I'm paying for everything. All you have to do is get here to New York and we're going to go see Serena. When I tell you, I know Vanita couldn't, she's like, say less, and got her plane ticket to New York. So Vanita, please tell us how it felt to be at the very first day of the US Open, being able to see Serena walk out there I know this is the first time you've ever seen her live. So talk to us a little bit about that experience and who you saw.
Girl, let me tell you, first of all, thank you for talking about Malcolm. That, to me, that was just a mother's dream. Your son calls you up and says, hey, Mom, meet me in New York. And by the way, I got the tickets. I got it covered. Are you kidding me? I couldn't get to New York fast enough, okay? So I'm thanking God for that. But let me tell you, I have to say that I didn't know what to expect when I got there. But there's a couple things I've written down because I want to make sure I cover it. First of all, the atmosphere in the stadium, if you can imagine it. But I think you guys, because you're married pairs, you know about the whole excitement of presentation and all of that. But the atmosphere in the stadium was unbelievable, electric. And I tell you, I sat there with my son, and I was just like, I don't know, I can't recall where I've ever felt something like this. It's like, this was the end. And they're like, okay, we're here for her. But let me tell you, I'm not a starstruck person. I'm just not naturally inclined that way. But let me tell you, Malcolm got me tickets 2 to 3 rows behind Serena. Did you hear what I said? Okay. We're sitting 2 to 3 rows behind Serena. And I can see everybody that's coming in. I nudged Malcolm. I said, that's Anthony Anderson from Blackjack. And oh my God, right behind him is Mike Tyson. And I said, oh my God, there's Bill Clinton. That's okay. This was my night. And right in front of us, I'm not exaggerating, guys. I am not exaggerating. Right in front of me is Rick Scott. So that was the first thing that just grabbed me. And this was before Serena came in. I was like, oh my God, these people have cleaned the pizza. So all these people were there to really root her on, to give her, to show their love for her. Spike Lee was out there. Everybody was there. So then, this is the thing that really, I just got that, this is something. When she made her entrance into the stadium, she was wanted to make a point. I'm getting ready to bring it. And she brought it. And when she walked out, and that long cake and that beautiful diamond covered cake with that beautiful diamond covered black jacket, my son jumped up out of his seat and screamed, oh my God, I gotta have that jacket. Unreal. I was like, oh my goodness. But the way she came in and the majesty that she carried when she came into the place. And I'm sitting there just staring and just admiring her because I'm a couple rows behind her and I can see everything. I can see her taking out her tennis rackets and all of it. And also, what was important, what I could see is how serious she was. She was ready. She was ready. She was ready to take care of business. A couple more things and then I will be quiet. What I found very interesting, and this to me is something that we all need to learn from as women, especially as we've grown older. what I realized is that she was playing someone who, by comparison, body type comparison, was much tinier than her and everything. And all I could look at her and say, she is a whole woman out there. And she's 40 years old. And as my son, who's a weightlifter, my other son, Martin, was a weightlifter, he said to me, he said, Mom, I don't want you to even think about being skinny. I want you to think about being strong. I'll never forget that. And when I see Serena Williams, I see strength. I see power. This woman was strong. And her presence was just manifested that. Last time, Benita, wait. Hold that thought, because when I tell you are painting a picture, I feel like I was sitting right there wishing 3 rows behind Serena. So listen, we're going to take this break. When we come back, I want to spend a little bit of time on her body and how she changed the game, the thought of the type of body you had to have to be a tennis player. So we want to come back to you right after the break. You're listening to We Got Issues, 9 a.m. the Superstation. We're talking about the GOAT. Yes, Sabrina Williams. We will continue the conversation when we come back after this break. talking about the GOAT, the greatest of all time, Serena. And we have my girlfriend, Serena Adams, was on the line. You guys, not too many people can say that they attended Serena's last U.S. Open before she retired or moved on to the next of her life. And so right before the break, we were talking about her body shape. And we know, if you look down through history, the type of, especially when it came to the females, the type of body type that most tennis players
was nothing like Serena. So, Vanita, talk to us a little bit about that. And then Caterina, tell us a little bit about Serena, her size, and you know, just about her physical body that is so different from what we are accustomed to.
And let me just say, and I know this is an immediate contrast to who she was playing and who she is. But more importantly, what I love about Gloria, and she's always been this way, she's comfortable in her body and she's comfortable in her skin. And it's so obvious by the energy that she exudes on the court. You know, and I think that just to give you some perspective on this, and Chris knows me well enough to know that I'm relatively conservative. I pretty much covered up. But your girl wore a mini dress. And you know why I wore a mini dress? Because I said, I am going into the stadium with a mini dress on because Serena is going to have a mini dress. I'm going to have a mini dress. And Serena and I are built very similar. Thank you very much. So it's just, I motivated you to put your mini dress on. I had on my mini dress, thank you very much. Walking around the stadium and not trying to hide. And I was like, yeah, I'm here. Because Miss Serena don't have on a mini dress. I gotta have on a mini dress. Thank you very much. So, but the bottom line is that, like my son, I'm going to go back to the Ralph Martin was telling me. My son is a professional weight lifter. And he said, you know, I'm always complaining about my legs and all this. He said, you know what? Yes, I want you to be healthy. But more than healthy, mother, I want you to strive to be everlasting strong. Power. That's what you need. As you get older, that's what you're going to need. And that's exactly what was on that court. And it just amazes me. She plays all types of body types. But guess what? She goes out there and she smokes them because of her strength, her power. But before Caterina jumps in, I just want to say this, and I'll be off the line because today is my mother's birthday. She's 80 years old. So I have to get off the phone. But I want to say that I will tell her that she'll be excited about that. Let me tell you what I think is most important, though, the legacy that she's leaving. Because earlier that day, Coco Gauff played, another youngster who's 18 years old, who uses Serena as an idol. She talked about that. She said how Serena was the one that motivated her to do this. This young lady, up and coming, and she is going to be in another class on by herself. So I'm excited because she's left a legacy of women, black women, who are following her. So, you know, Serena, we'll have the GOATs forever, but there's going to be other GOATs. They're coming. The beauty of what she has done. Oh, wow. I mean, that is so powerful for me to know that she has been a role model for so many, you know, people, black and brown girls specifically. And I was just thinking also.
I was also thinking that even when she came on the scene, when Venus and Serena came on the scene, when they came on with their braids and all the beads in their head, and, you know, and there was a lot of comments even within the black community on, you know, why they have all those beads in their head, you know, that doesn't represent us well, or that's not what a tennis player looked like. And I will say, I'll say I was probably one of the ones that said something about all of those beads. But as I look back, yeah, and her, yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh boy. And she wore the doggone one, that cat suit, okay? She changed how people dress in tennis. You know, my point being this is that now
and I'm mature and I understand. I think it was brilliant that her parents let her dress like a Black child so that Black children that lived in, in Compton and in other areas, could look at her and see themselves and say, wow, she looks like me. I have 100 beads in my head. That's something I would wear. That's how I am built. That's how I am shaped. And so I look back and
Chris,
say, I'm so glad they did that. Go ahead, Caterina.
Not to mention what we go through as Black women, because when you play the way she plays, your hair gonna get nappy. That's what they would say, right? And then they're gonna talk about your edges and talk about everything. I mean, who would not want their hair to be braided if you were playing tennis as hard as she's playing every single day? Just in terms of a manageable style throughout, she's practicing every single day. So it's like, it would have been, if she didn't have it braided, it would have been, the world would have talked about her naps, right? So come on now, all that sweating, it would have been all over her head. I work out one time, I'm like, OMG, what am I gonna do with this? So yes, right. Okay, we don't know no sweat like that.
Okay. Go ahead, Benita, go ahead, give us your last comment. I know you want to go and celebrate Mama Glenn, her birthday, and please give her a hug from me and tell her I said happy birthday.
Happy birthday. I will do that. Yes, I think the thing that I want to continue to stress is the legacy and what she's done, not only from how the game is played, but just the legacy of the body imaging, the power of what she's done, the people that she's brought along with her on this journey, whether directly or indirectly. There's so much to what she's done. I mean, she really changed the whole, excuse the expression, she changed the complexion of the game. She really did. And she, just like, you have your Harriet, you have your Rosa Parks, the settlement. She really had to break that glass window. She had to break that window down and say, here I am. And as a result, other people just kept stepping through. So I'm honored that my son called me and said, hey, let's roll up to New York. I was like, oh my goodness, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And yeah, I'm glad that I was able to share my perspective with you guys. And unfortunately, I would love to stay for the rest of the show, but now I got to feed Mama Glenn her birthday dinner. Okay, I understand. Well, we thank you so much, Benita, for calling in, sharing with us your experience.
I told her, I said, you will be able to look back years from now and say, I was there at her very first match, the last match of her career. So that's so awesome. So again, thank you so much for calling. We got issues.
Thanks, Benita.
Thanks, Benita. Great show. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Chris,
so Caterina, talk to us.
I was going to say, one of the people, I was reading an article about how she consulted Meghan Markle and Harry, Prince Harry, about her decision to retire. And what a great source to talk about stepping out of the limelight that you have known your entire life. I mean, Prince Harry, that's a whole other level of stepping out of that limelight into another light. And on the podcast with Meghan Markle, she was talking about how she was trying to figure out what they were talking about, that at first she was talking to Prince Harry for like over an hour, but I could imagine how much he would have to say, how much they both would have to say, and how supportive they were about your impact, what your impact could be. So, there's life, and I'm sure it's going to come with its challenges. But even as I was sitting there yesterday watching Tiger Woods, there will come a time that he will retire as well. But the respect, I mean, looking at him, watching her, hearing LeBron and how he referred to her, just seeing the other athletes that are top, and as successful as she's been, we know that men still, make even more money and so forth. We know the difference, but boy, oh boy, oh boy. And then hearing them talk about how she won yesterday, how some people thought, can someone who hasn't played consistently, can they in, and how the person she beat was crying, and what she talked about, how she played. And so this guy talked about it's in her DNA, her competitive spirit. And then being in the room where the crowd, he said, no one was rooting for your opponent. Everyone is rooting for you. I mean, the energy of that and what that does for you. It's like, I mean, thanks, Benita, for giving us the inside scoop of being in the place.
For real, for real. And to your point, Caterina, I was listening to one of the commentators, and they were talking about, the first game was really important because, you definitely wanted to go to the first game, because if she lost, you could say at least you saw the first game, and then she won it. So you're like, yes. And then to go to the second game and she pull it out again, that's like, OMG. I wish I could be a fly on the wall. But to your point, they said everybody was rooting for her and nobody was rooting for the opponent. So you know what? We're going to have to give the opponents, some accolades and a round of applause, because that is serious pressure. I can only imagine playing the GOAT and everybody wanting the GOAT to win. You guys, we're going to continue our conversation about Serena Williams right after this break. You're listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship. We'll be right back. We're back. We're back. You're listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship, and we're talking about Serena Williams, the GOAT. This is her last time that we will see her playing professionally as a professional tennis player. And we just heard an amazing story from my girlfriend that had an opportunity to go to the U.S. Open right there in New York. I just would have loved to have been sitting there right there with her, watching the GOAT. Oh my goodness. I saw, of course they were playing it on all of the news media outlets, to see her walk into that arena with that cape and all of those diamonds. I was like, now that's the way you show up for your last appearance in the U.S. Open. We were talking about, Caterina, we're talking about her body type and how it's so different from the norm. So tell us a little bit about, how her body type.
Okay. And I'm literally over here turning my TV on because I believe that her and Venus are playing at 7. which is in 10 minutes. Okay. So I'm trying to catch the walk in. Okay. I'm like over here. Let me get to the US Open on my YouTube TV. But, many people, I mean, we talked about how she changed the game, how she totally changed the game in terms of dress, in terms of body type. And I don't even know how recent these stats are, but Serena's 5'9", and I just looked up, many. So she's taller. Like I was comparing her to another, I don't know how to say her name, famous tennis player, 5'3", female. She is weighs 154 pounds, and this other woman I was comparing her to, 121 pounds, another famous. She's famous. I just can't say her name. She's famous as Serena. Bra size 36D, cup size D, shoe size 10, body measurements 40, 30, 44, which back in the day used to be they wrote a song about
36, 24, 36, something like that.
Yeah.
Brick house.
Okay, I think she is exactly. I was gonna say, I think this is who Lionel Richie and the Commodores was singing about. Okay, I mean, seriously, her strength, her power. They talk about some men that Serena possibly in her heyday could have even played competitively. So it's no joke. She is just so strong, so amazingly strong. I did hear her talk about in her next chapter, the importance that she will have to, one of the benefits of training so hard is staying so fit. And of course, we know, I've heard I'm sure Mike Tyson too, but I've heard Michael Jordan even talk about that it's nothing like when you were training every day, so I know that will be at the top of her mind in terms of how you continue to stay fit after you've, lived your life. But I'm sure she'll work out for the rest of her life. Because it's in her DNA. So just unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys, we got to talk a little bit about her stats. The reason we call her the greatest of all time. I mean, her record is just amazing. She has won 23 Grand Slam titles. She won the Grand Slam title at the US Open in 1999. And then she went on to win 22 more, you guys. She won 7 at Wimbledon, 3 at the French Open, 7 at the Australian Open, and 5 more at the US Open. She was just one short of Margaret Court's all-time record of 24. She's also, guys, listen to this, have won 14 doubles titles, all with her sister Venus, and 2 mixed double titles. I mean, that's amazing for you to have done all of that, but it's even more wonderful to be able to say that you shared doubles with your sister, and you guys won that, I believe, 14 times. And then you guys, some more of her stats. She played 31 times with her sister. I mean, how special is that?
Her biggest competitor.
That you're able. Yeah, exactly.
She said her sister has been her biggest competitor. That's unbelievable. Shout out to Venus. We got to give more props to Venus. A big
shout out to her, because you know what? I've never read or even seen anything that talked about any jealousy or envy. She talks about Venus being the closest person to her, that she understands her, and that they're not twins, because we know that Venus is older, but they are. I mean, when I say they are so close, they are so close. And so that's such a beautiful story. And like you, at 7 o'clock, I'm going to be glued to the television watching she and her sister do the doubles again. And so keeping our fingers crossed that they will win that. And then let's talk about the money. The money.
That's what I just pulled up. I just pulled the money.
Come on. Like, talk about it. Talk about the money.
Okay. So she will make, just a shout out to Venus. Venus will make $42 million in 2022. Serena will make $94 million in 2022. Her net worth is over $260 million. So, she and more to come.
It's not shabby at all. Not shabby at all.
Just
right?
Getting started.
Wow.
Yes.
And then you guys, what's really awesome is that when you have spent your time you know, with your discipline and your focus and doing everything you can to achieve, the title of the GOAT, or just to be at the top of your game. There are so many other opportunities, doors that open for you. So as you said, Caterina is moving on to her next chapter. The sky is the limit to what she can do. They said that Sabrina has invested already in 66 startups. Okay, so she is definitely using her money and putting it into things that she think are viable and that are going to be the next big thing, and that's exciting. And then, of course, the fact that the movie with her dad was nominated, and we know that Will Smith won the Oscar for King Richard. So that was just so powerful that her story was able to be told through the story of her father. And then, you guys, before we leave, we got to talk about the time. And I don't know if you know about, well, I'm sure you know about it, Caterina, when she was in 2001, she was at the Indian Wells, and that's when they racially abused her. The crowd, chanted and was just so terrible to her. But did you know that was in 2001? She boycotted them for 14 years. 14 years.
Wow.
She decided, that she was not going to show up and not to participate in any of the things that they did. And so I just think that's so powerful that she made that stance of, you know what, you gonna need me before I need you. Okay.
Yeah. I'm a member of the masterclass, and she has a masterclass. I'm going to take Serena's masterclass for sure. She said in a recent interview, this year we raised $111 million for outside financing from banks, private individuals, and family offices. 78% of our portfolio happens to be companies started by women. This is Serena Ventures. Companies started by women and people of color, because that's who we are. Because of those kind of situations and all the racism that she endured, let's be clear, she's going to use her money to advance women and people of color.
And that is who she is. And when I tell you, we're just so proud of Serena, all that she has done, all that she means to the tennis community, and of course, what she means to the African-American community as well. You guys, make sure you get the latest issue of Vogue. She is on the cover wearing the most beautiful powder blue dress. She looks absolutely stunning. You guys, if you're like Caterina and I, as soon as we get off, we're going to be watching the doubles with Venus and Serena. Oh my goodness, this has been amazing. You guys, you're listening to and been watching. We got issues with the Force of Friendship. We will be here tomorrow, Friday. Yes, and it's going to be a happy Friday. So we'll see you on tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody.